What is happening, everybody? Welcome to a new episode here of Sports Bets, but mostly chaos. If you don't know this by now, well, I'm Craig.
I'm Jonathan.
I'm Benny.
I'm Jason.
All right. And the first things first, we want to say we hope you all had a great Thanksgiving holiday. You spent it with family, friends, tons of good food, all that good stuff. We all hope you had a great one, and we're happy to be back after we took that week off to spend time with our families as well. But we're back, we're ready to go, and we're jumping right into things. We're going to kick things off with a little NBA action. We got to check in on the Warriors, who had a pretty tough game against the Phoenix Suns, arguably the best two teams in the NBA on Tuesday. But I know they got a rematch coming up as well. So Jason and John, why don't you take it away and give us a little more in detail exactly how that game played out with the Warriors and Suns the other night.
Yeah, it was a tough game for the Warriors. I mean, let's give credit. Phoenix played really well. D-Up, Curry, they played really good defense. They did a lot of switches on him, gave him a different lot of looks. He had one of his worst performances that I can remember. Just goes to show that he's human. We got a rematch tomorrow night. Should be a good one. It's at Chase Center. Just a lot of things. Wiggins had back spasms that night. He looked slow, and you could tell he was lingering.
Can't do it.
So it is what it is. They were without Booker as well, who's a big piece of what they do, and he had a hamstring. So I'm assuming he's not playing tomorrow. He may be back for the Christmas game. Hamstrings can linger.
I do want to say, I think I saw a tweet yesterday that already confirmed he wasn't going to be playing Friday.
Yeah, I would find it hard to believe if he's playing tomorrow. So maybe he's back for the Christmas game. Go from there. Andre Iguodala's been out for a little while with sore knee. Like you said, it was a playoff type atmosphere in Phoenix. It's probably going to be a playoff type atmosphere tomorrow in Chase. Should be a great game, and hopefully we even up the in-season series. On the other side of it, Klay Thompson seems to be inching closer to getting back. I think Steve Kerr said on the radio today he's weeks away. He said a few weeks technically. So, kind of going towards that December 20th, 23rd timeline until he can run scrimmages at 12 minutes. That's when he'll be back. So that's going to be a great sight to see. And they're overall, I mean, they lost again. If they won that game on Tuesday, even though they lost, I would be saying the same thing. It's one game. It's not a series. It's a good playoff barometer, I guess. You're going to see them if you want to win a championship this year. You're going to see him in a series. So I really don't like watching Chris Paul. I think he's like my second least favorite player to watch.
Run that guy.
Dribble, dump off and pass with like 5 seconds left on the shot clock. It's very James Harden-esque.
Russell Westbrook.
I don't like that style of basketball. I like the way they move the basketball. The Warriors move the basketball, which is why, again, they turn the ball over 50 million times a game because they're passing the ball so much. Tomorrow night should be fun. And then I think they follow up Saturday with the San Antonio Spurs. So they got a back-to-back coming up.
Yeah. Michael Bridges for the Suns probably played his best defensive game of his career, blocking down Curry throughout the whole game like he did. It was insane to watch. Like Curry could not get any breathing room, and there's not many players out there in the NBA that can do that. And we'll see if he can continue doing that tomorrow and lock up Curry again. With the Warriors, if you want to beat the Warriors, you have to win the turnover battle. And that's what Phoenix did. And a lot of the turnovers were unforced errors, though. It was just like passing it to someone on the bench. Like it wasn't even like that the Suns were playing good defense. It was just like the Warriors were just really bad with the ball. So that didn't help. Like you can't lose a turnover battle by like 10 against a good team like the Suns and expect to win. And
Can't do it.
You got Jordan Poole was doing really good. Otto Porter, both those two were contributing, but no one else really was making the baskets. They were basically daring Gary Payton to shoot. He's not he's not a good shooter from the top of the key. Yeah. JTA played 12 minutes, and in 12 minutes had 5 turnovers. Like it was really sloppy basketball, especially in the second half. And that's one of the key ingredients to beat the Warriors, you know. Two things. You have to win the turnover battle and you have to hope they miss open shots. And that both happened just that game. Credit goes out to the Suns. When, like you said, we'll be in Chase tomorrow. I can't wait to see that game.
Yeah, follow up on that too. In the text thread, and I was talking to you guys, or maybe somebody else. I was telling Craig, like Gary Payne II needs to be on the floor more because his plus minus is ridiculous. His defense leads to offense, and I mean, Choiza, dude, he's the 15th dude. Like Gary Payne should be having his minutes, and I mean, at this point in time, with Iguodala out, Gary Payne II should probably be somewhere into like the 18 to 22 kind of range a night.
Oh yeah.
Just his defense, he does everything. He said it to himself. He does everything well except shoot the ball. He's there for your steals. He's there for your defense. There for your dunks. He's there for your passing. So yeah, he's a great player to watch. I love watching him play, and hopefully brings that energy to again tomorrow night.
Yeah, I didn't really understand all the extra minutes Joseph was getting because like he's more of the game's over kind of player in my opinion. Like for the Warriors, he shouldn't be out there in big minutes. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah, it should be an exciting rematch tomorrow night over at the Chase Center. Hopefully the Warriors can even up the in regular season series with the Suns tomorrow night. Get back on the W train.
It'd be a really fun Western Conference Finals matchup.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, I even watched a little bit of that game, if you can believe it. Yeah,
that's why they lost. God damn it, Craig.
That's honestly what I was thinking. I was watching. I was like, if the Warriors lose this game, I'm gonna be blamed for it.
It's like my dad going to the Memphis game and they lost that one. I was like, you're never going again. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Ouch, baby.
It's not fun, but all right. We're going to turn our attention over to the ice as we have some NHL updates we got to get to. Check in on the Anaheim Ducks and maybe the Vegas Golden Knights a little bit as well, and just everything else going on in NHL before we touch on a little bit on the San Jose Sharks as well. So, Benny, with that being said, fill us all in. What's going on in Chell?
I'm not going to talk about the Knights because all they're doing is just giving up goals left and right. So really, if you want,
no, you're right.
If you want to watch, if you want to hear about the Knights, just literally watch any highlight reel because they just seem to be letting in goals in bulk. So they're Las Vegas Costco at this point. They're pretty much, they just gave up a handful the other night. It seems to be 5 is their magic number. So that's the way it is. It's been pretty tough to watch them, honestly, because Lanner's just god awful. That's whatever. The Ducks have been pretty good. They're on a 2-game winning streak after actually beating the Knights last night, which was shocking. That's only been their second time in history to beat the Knights at home. So that was cool. So I think they're now 2-9 or something like that. I don't know, something just graceful. So whatever. But a lot of production from Drysdale, Zegras. It's giving life to Fowler, Lindholm. The one player I want to see the Ducks get rid of is Derek Grant. It's somebody that's actually parted from the team, I believe, twice now. He's just slow, terrible, just always seems to be the last man back, and he's a forward. So cool. He's defensive minded, but he gets beat because he's slow as hell. He's just terrible. Unfortunately, I think we used everything we could get out of him in the previous seasons. He's just nothing anymore. So right now they're looking pretty solid. Pacific is pretty tight right now. Only a handful of points between each spot. So it's been pretty entertaining to watch, though. Like to watch good hockey, and then it's good to see the fans back in the stadium. That's definitely helping the Ducks with having a little extra life and a little jump in their steps. So definitely been happy to see the growth of attendance keep going up. So yeah, we'll see. But
Could have dropped it there, but I just didn't do it.
Yeah. a little too easy.
A little bit, you know, a little too.
Yeah.
Damn it.
That's what
I was
she
trying
said.
to bait it. So yeah, no, but on a so you know it's gonna be good. It's been only like every team's about 20 to 25 games in or so, give or take. Everyone's kind of a little different given COVID. I will say though, props to the GM in Ottawa. He called his shot this past offseason, saying that the team is done with the rebuild. Hell yeah. Well, apparently they just built a pile of shit and they're content with that. They are obviously gotten hit now with COVID, so they had a little bit of a delay, but they're in the bottom of the East with, I think, single digit
Shocking.
points. They sent Matt Murray down to the minors. Matt Murray was unhappy, thinking that maybe he's the scapegoat for just the lack of offense and defense up front, which I don't blame him. Today, somehow magically, they were beating Carolina, which Carolina Hurricanes are kind of slowly falling down. Carolina was out shooting them 24-6 halfway through the game, and Ottawa was winning 1-0. So I don't know. It's a little weird to see, but that seems to be a common theme lately. Last night, the Penguins, same thing. They were out shooting the Oilers, I believe, by double digits. It was 7 shots to 22 or something, and it was 2-1 in favor. So it's just really weird. It's a very funky season with just the scores, but it is what it is. Makes it more entertaining because you're not sure what the hell you're going to get each night. So yeah, no. On another side note, I actually meant to do this at the beginning of the podcast, but I was in the middle of doing a bet. This will actually be my last podcast tonight. I'm going to take some time away, step away from it. But this will be my last podcast. I did mean to say this at the beginning, actually right after our intros, but I completely blanked because I was literally in the middle of looking at players and their stats. So I kind of dropped the ball, but yeah, no. So this will be my leave of absence for a while, just with some news that came up and everything. So, but I'm sure there'll still be some Sharks talk and all that stuff. But unfortunately, Southern California fans, we're gonna have to hold off for a little while in regards to some.
It's like our entire fan base, man.
I know. So I'm sure I'm gonna get roasted and hear about it on Twitter. But roasted. You know, so we're just wanted to make that known. So yeah, this will be my last one for the time being, and then we'll just see where it goes from there. But yeah, no. So that's that. But then yeah, that's actually it for hockey as well. Like I said, nothing to talk about the Knights because there's just absolutely jack shit to talk about with them. They have many problems that they will not probably sort out. I would say their number one problem is Leonard, and I would say number 2 problem is probably their coach DeBoer. I don't think he's the right fit. I think you need to get someone else, but they probably won't because they're Vegas, and well, it's just been they've been doing some head scratching things for the past 2 years, and I think it's only going to get worse. And I really do feel that they will not win a Stanley Cup within the next 5 years. And even with Jack Eichel coming back, he was skating today for the first time after his neck surgery. So that was cool to see. It was literally a 15-second clip of him weaving though, and gear and his stick, just literally skating along center ice. So it's super boring and pointless. So I was like, okay. But it was good to see him just lace him back up. I'm curious to see what the timeline is, because I know they were saying after the surgery was completed, it would be about 3 months for him to come back. I'm just curious if that's actually going to be a timetable that's realistic, or if they're going to rush it like Vegas tends to do with stupid things, or if they're going to let him just take his time. So yeah, no. So that's all I got in regards to the Southern California / desert front. But obviously there's plenty to talk about with the Sharks and fun stuff going on over there.
All right. Yeah. I mean, we can talk about the Sharks a little bit. I guess just to focus on stuff that's like at least on the ice wise.
Yeah. We don't have time for the
Yeah,
off the ice shit.
I'll let whoever, if they want to talk about it, they can bring that up. But at least on the ice wise, yeah, the Sharks they're still hanging around. At least from what
Hanging
I've
around.
seen, yeah, they keep hanging around. But I mean, the thing is that they're we're like you said, Ben, like we're at like what the quarter point of the season right now, and
Yep.
and they're still in the thick of things. I think one of the things that's been great is they've been getting excellent goaltending from James Reimer, and he seems to play pretty well when he's in a Sharks uniform. I mean, we had a little short taste of him back in the 15-16 season when they made it to the Stanley Cup final. And I know he wasn't the starter, but he got some starts here and there. And he held his own. So I think that's one thing that's been impressive is that that's one thing that doesn't need to really get talked about too much is the goaltending. And I feel like that's something that we've always talked about in the past couple of years, even before we had this show, was that we talked about the goaltending and everything like that. And it was back and forth of like, well, is it really all on Martin Jones? Is it not? And it's kind of nice to not really rely on that so much anymore. Just looking back at just the last, I guess last couple of games, because it's been a couple of weeks. They had that kind of ugly loss last Friday against the Leafs. They didn't look too good on there. They went into Chicago on Sunday. They did not play a good game against the Blackhawks, but they got the job done. Reimer held his end, didn't let anything get past him. And the Sharks were able to escape with a 2-0 victory there. And then they had a good game against New Jersey. I thought their second period against Devils, they looked excellent. Yeah. It might have been the best period of hockey that I've seen the Sharks play. And that's being said that I haven't been able to watch a whole lot of it. The third period, the Devils really did push back quite a bit. I would say the Sharks got outworked in that period, but thankfully they had built a lead. And the crazy thing is I think at one point it was like, I think it was 4-0. And the Sharks had about 2 other scoring opportunities that I'm blanking on who the netminder is for Blackwood. Made a couple of crazy saves. So the Sharks could have been up 6-0 in that second period. But New Jersey was able to at least get it, keep it at 4. And then it obviously got a little bit hairy in that third period, but the Sharks held out. And as we're talking right now, it's a 1-1 game with the Islanders with about 6 minutes left in the third. And Aiden Hill's in net. So it looks like Aiden Hill, who's kind of been essentially without really being said, been kind of named the backup goaltender just because Reimer's getting the share of starts, because how could you not ride Reimer with how he's been playing?
Hills look soft.
Yeah.
Like
in general, he
had that one good game where he stood on his head.
He's been the clear backup out of the 2 so far to this point. But I just think one thing that I think that's been so good with the Sharks, and I don't want to keep talking too much. I want to make sure you guys have some content to talk about too. I don't want to take anything away, but I do want to say one other thing is I've been really impressed with the bounce back Timo Meier's had. Timo has been a guy that he had a good year a couple of years ago, and then I want to say, I guess that would be history to be the last 2 years probably. I want to say that he's been relatively quiet. He just hasn't been consistent enough. And I want to say he was even talked about it being dealt during the offseason at one point. I think there was a possible rumor that he was going to go to the Devils too, and obviously that nothing ever really came of that. He's still the Sharks, and he's been putting up good numbers. So it's good to see from Timo. That's something they're going to need. They need a guy like that who's going to produce like that if this team is going to really be there down the stretch. But I'll leave it at that. I want to make sure that if there's anything you guys want to say, I don't say any of it. So John or Jason, if there's anything you guys want to add about the Sharks, go ahead and do so now.
Go ahead, John.
No, they are been as expected, concerned where you can see what talent they have right now. You expect them to beat the Blackhawks, expect them to beat the Devils. But this is good. This is a good test here against the Islanders. You can make the case should be a playoff team this year. Toronto. It's Toronto. Like we beat them earlier in the season, but like we were so shocked that we beat them. Like them destroying us at Toronto wasn't much of a shock. Like, so it's kind of like they are who we thought they are, kind of thing, right? So the Sharks are gonna be that fringe playoff team. It's probably gonna go down to one of the 3 California teams will get that last spot, or that three seed in the Pacific, and then we'll see if 2 teams from the California both make it with the 7 or 8. And then yeah, Timo bounced back. I think he's up to 10 goals now. He's been looking really.
I think he has a dozen.
Yeah,
Doesn't okay. Yeah, so he's been really doing good. It's just a whole bunch of the fringe players. Barabanov, I think his name.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
Barabanov.
said that perfect.
He
Yeah,
might
people
be a huge
I've been seeing a
steal.
lot of praise on him.
Yeah.
Young kids. So they have a lot of those young players who just are stepping up, and they're there were a whole bunch of nobodies coming into the season, and they're making names for themselves. So we'll see if it lasts throughout the whole season. But like you said, through the first quarter of the season, I got no complaints. They're doing a lot better than I expected going into the season.
Real quick, sorry, just a little alert here. So the Buffalo Sabres have been looking pretty good this season. They've been
Oh, I was going to bring that up.
they've been pretty good for the most part. Obviously, now they're getting hit with COVID, so they're kind of getting sidetracked. They actually were up 4-1 over the Florida Panthers, and they ended up losing 7-4. So
They were
fun
up.
time.
They were up 3-0 after the first.
Yep. So
I was gonna bring that up.
I'm just saying that
That was
they
funny.
look playoff ready, and that is a team that they are who we thought they were. So for sure.
They are who we thought they were.
I mean, they did acquire Malcolm Subban, so I mean,
Oh, yeah,
they did do that.
they're ready to go.
They're literally just jinxing themselves for failure. Like that guy is the one of the worst goaltenders in my eyes, because he is so he's not mobile, he's not very good at playing the puck. He lets in some of the softest goals 5-hole. You know what? He was literally he was the thorn in the Knights' side when he was on that team, and Fleury did everything he could to help him. Then he got dealt, and then to Chicago, I think, and then just they were riding him for a little bit because they figured they were a terrible team, and then they finally figured, okay, maybe we have a chance, so we got to get rid of him. But yeah, he's just I am shocked that he's still in the NHL. I would think that he would be in the AHL by now, because he's just not consistent. He's just not consistent. So yeah, I think by next season he'll probably be in the AHL, or maybe look into something overseas, because he's not ready. But yeah, that was crazy. So fun stuff there.
All right.
Hockey's been weird.
Yeah, no shit.
All right, fellas, any other NHL news you want to throw in there before we switch it off? We got a little bit of
Sharks are
other
going
business.
overtime. That's about all I got.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we got to transition a little bit over to baseball. Not a whole lot to get into, other than the biggest news is that there's a lockout. Lockout's in place now as of earlier today, and haven't been really following it too much, so I don't really know like if there's speculation of how long it's going to go for.
I think the consensus. I think people are guessing that spring training will get canceled, and then but the season will start on time, something like that. But we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But what has happened on the MLB is there's been a crazy amount of free agent signings, which I don't think was too much of a shocker just with the lockout that was kind of presumed to happen. A lot of players are locking down. I think the only two notable players off the top of my head that did not sign are Carlos Correa and Trevor Story. Those are two guys.
Fuck that bitch. Fuck that guy. That guy's a piece of shit. Fuck that guy. Correa is a fucking bitch. And if he becomes an Angel, so help me God. So help me God. We will have a clip. We'll put a little clip on the Instagram of me flipping the fuck out if he becomes an Angel.
If Correa ever becomes an Angel, I don't think Ben will ever come back from his hiatus.
I think Christy said that she was like, "Oh, what if I bought you a jersey, a Correa jersey?" Oh man.
Are you ready?
I think the smoke detector went off because I almost lost it. Just imagining that.
By the end of the night, tell you what.
Oh God. So moving on. Sorry,
But I mean, there has been a crazy amount of signings going on. Obviously, Max Scherzer to the Mets. I mean, the Mets got a bunch of people. They got Mark Canha, Starling Marte, Eduardo Escobar. The Tigers landed Javi Baez. I don't think that one kind of came out of left field. The Texas Rangers, they got Marcus Semien and Corey Seager. I mean, together that's $560 something million in just the middle infield by themselves. So now the Rangers are trying to make an attempt. The Angels went and got Noah Syndergaard, which I mean that guy hasn't thrown a ball in what 2 years. So
Yeah,
I mean
Thor.
there's a lot of action going on. So I guess boys, if there's anyone to add, maybe like any teams maybe that maybe to look out for based on what we know so far, or what the additions they made, or anything else you guys might just want to add on altogether, or any other signings maybe that I didn't mention too. So
Angels are getting ready for the World Series, and then of course the league we're going after them, and so they did a lockout. Some bullshit. They're after the Angels.
Well, the
Ben.
it's safe to say the Mets are all in.
Sharks won.
Sharks
You know,
just won it.
they went and got
Damn it,
Sharks
I'm
won.
behind.
Damn.
Must have won right away because I was
Uh,
about to start on my phone.
You know, they went and got Starling Marte. They went and got bat flipping season. You know,
Wow.
Marcana. So they're going all. I'm trying to remember what pitcher they went and signed. Scherzer. You brought it up. So yeah, they're safe to say the Mets are all in. You know, they went and got Lindor in the offseason. I'm pretty sure.
You play to win the game.
Trying to remember which outfielder is that they're gonna be moving on from. I can't remember on top of my
Conforto.
head, but
Michael Conforto.
yeah, Conforto. Yeah, there we go. I think one of the biggest names to keep an eye on once the lockout does get finished is Castellanos, because I know he's holding it. I think he's gonna be holding out for a big contract, and I don't know which team's gonna give it to him. But and then one of the craziest things is I think it's a 12-year contract that the Rays gave for Wander Franco, 20-year-old kid, and the Rays actually opened up the checkbook for someone. That's shocker. How about that? Maybe the A's can
What a concept.
do it for once also.
What a concept.
What a concept. You know, you
Oh
get our first overall pick, and it turns out to be one of the best prospects in years, and you actually pay the guy. Wow, what a shocker.
my man.
And then Toronto made some questionable moves, I thought, in my opinion. They brought in a couple of pitchers where I'm like, wait, so are you not going to pay Marcus Semien? Are you not going to pay Robbie Ray? Oh, I guess they didn't, because they're both gone now. But they signed they re-signed the guy they got from Minnesota. I'm blanking on his name right now.
Jose Barrios.
They signed him
That's me and his
over Robbie
money.
Ray, which was a little. Toronto made a couple of questionable signings or questionable moves. I'm not going to say that it was. Well, we'll wait and see next year to see if they made the wrong moves. And then, like you said, the Rangers throwing money everywhere. I guess they struck oil somewhere in Texas. I have no idea.
Who's going to pitch for him?
Who is
I don't know.
John Gray?
just we've been asking the Angels that for how many years?
Ouch.
Yeah.
And then the Rangers are doing their best Angels imitation.
And then Gosman went to the Blue Jays also, right? Am I correct there?
No, you're right.
Okay, so Gosman, but at least the Giants still have cobwebs, so because they re-signed Alex Cobb.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Bad joke, bro.
It was all over Twitter when they signed him, so I just had to bring it out there.
You should have kept it on Twitter.
Yeah.
And then for the A's, they re-signed Kemp and they re-signed Pinder. So
Wait, the A's still exist?
They also re-signed Diolis Garrett, by the way, too.
Oh my god,
man.
that's oh my god,
Good lord.
What?
Wow.
It's like
I can't believe it. I can't believe
they opened up the I wouldn't even call it a checkbook. They opened up the
They opened up the till for the cash register.
Yeah.
Give me all your money.
That guy's
All right,
so
sir.
bad, dude. That guy was so bad.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a lockout off season, no winter meetings anymore, and we'll see come March if the MLB finishes the lockout or this goes all the way into April. We'll see.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, I think it's going to go for a while. I don't think they're caving either way. I would like to see some changes in baseball, like is the DH in baseball. I like to see that. I like to see expansion for playoffs. which I think that's something that they're negotiating on as well. But the fact that you guys are arguing billions of dollars right now is ridiculous. And yeah, we'll see. I'll touch on it more later on in the show. So.
Oh wow, a little teaser.
Great. Now you gave our viewers blue balls for the next 20 minutes.
I'm used to it.
Yeah, baby.
I said blue balls, not dust balls. It's all good. Got some pimento cheese for you.
Yours are purple by now.
If mine are purple, what are yours?
Irrelevant.
There's a whole bunch of cobwebs out there. I just gotta go clean it out.
I got a swifter for you.
Yeah. Anyways,
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
All your souls for that. All right. Let's find a way to move on from that one. All right, let's switch over to the National Football League. Week number 12 is done. I don't even know what kind of momentum we have going to this one, but all right, let's dive into a little bit. And we had a couple of our teams had some action on Thanksgiving Day, and you know what? I'm looking forward to hearing John the most. So, John, the Cowboys played the Raiders on Thanksgiving, and well, you know what? I'll just let you just take it from there. So, John, why don't you go and fill us in, because I'm sure you're talking about the referees quite a bit. So we'll just let you go off on that one.
Sorry, I got a bag full of flags. So that's
These
all
are
it
just
was.
so fucking terrible. Like,
they're terrible.
oh my god.
It's just nothing but flags. Goddamn zebras. Hockley's crew is the worst crew in the NFL. That's
Don't need to hate on
my
zebras.
opinion. That's not even my opinion. That's actually like straight up facts. Like the amount like Hockley's crew just wants to make themselves the focal picture, and I need to start paying attention weekly. We need to start paying attention weekly to which game that crew is going to be playing. Is going to be doing. It's going to be refereeing, because that game's going to be. It's going to be a mess. It was just bad. First time in since 1980 something that two teams both had 14 plus penalties each, with over 300 total yards of penalties. Just like let them play. It's just, could you imagine if this was like the Super Bowl?
I want winners.
The game gets pretty much decided on a pass interference call. Like, that annoys the crap out of me. And then especially like with the first game of the year, an obvious pass interference call, offensive, won the game for Tampa Bay. So it's just like Cowboys and offensive penalties. It's just and pass interference is just been really frustrating this year. Nothing more to say. It was a really boring bullshit game because the refs just couldn't get out of the way.
Okay.
Maybe you guys should like practice.
That
like
was exhilarating.
maybe not doing pass interference. I don't know. Just a suggestion. I mean, seems pretty common, right? I mean, just saying, maybe, like Goff can practice what it's like to throw a touchdown every once in a while during practice. Maybe
Now you're just asking for way too much.
They should ask Josh Norman to teach them in pass interference. Really.
Oh,
I think you guys need to get your old head coach back.
Hey, look, I brought another penalty out. I should have threw it when John was talking. That would have been probably the most accurate.
Probably really solid right there.
Speaking of our old head coach, he got fired.
Oh, he did? Was he on the Giants?
Yeah, he's got fired as the offensive coordinator.
Why? He has such a great personality.
Too much.
Oh, that's nasty.
By the way, do you guys know? Craig knows. Do you guys know who the new offensive coordinator is for the New York Giants?
Oh, yeah.
Who is Loriano?
Who is?
Not even close.
Get out of my kitchen.
Yeah, Freddie Kitchens. Maybe the only head coach out there who was worse than Adam Gase. Maybe.
3/4 of this is inaccurate.
We'll see.
Consistency. I like it.
They got rid of the clapper, huh? That's too bad.
They had to put the old person down. No more clap on, clap off.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Use the goddamn light switch like a normal person.
Mm.
Oh my god, this is
This was like cringeworthy for sure. Like
John's kind of like our Monday night team. Like if you have a week off, like that next game is you gotta fade us hardcore. So like you gotta fade John hardcore like on a week off, like with his it's just
but
No one's ever said I was a comedian.
well,
trust me, no one.
I'm pretty sure people have. But it's cool. It's cool. But hey, as long as you're having fun.
Second half start yet?
Sweet baby Jesus. Second half has started. Yes. Started 4 minutes ago.
All right. Well,
I'm just kidding.
Let's go
A minute ago.
Let's go from the ref game to another game. We'll switch it over to I guess we'll go to we'll go to Jay on this one. I want to hear what he has to say about the Niner game as they came away with the victory against the Minnesota Vikings in Santa Clara. It's their third straight win. Jay, have they really turned this thing around for good and they're on their way to the playoff run here?
I think they're on their way to a playoff run because based on who the NFC teams are. They've gotten better for sure. They're running the ball. Elijah Mitchell is running.
You mean
crazy.
Deebo Samuel?
Debo, well, he's hurt now for a week or two at least, but he's playing. I mean, if they gave the MVP award to somebody other than a quarterback, he would definitely be in the conversation. Unfortunately, the MVP always seems to go to a quarterback. They played well. Defense is coming along a little bit. It was a fun game to watch. I mean, I think Craig and I talked about it all week that it was going to be a decent scoring game.
It's nice when you predict a shootout and you get it right.
Oh, yeah, and Jimmy G and Kirk Cousins are like mirror images of each other. They both do some boneheaded throws that you're just like, what the hell were you doing? First quarter, for example, Jimmy G throws a pick, goes to the sidelines and gets literally ripped by Shanahan. Like, what the fuck are you doing? They show it on TV, and so he played better. The Niners' MO: run the ball, play solid defense, and you're probably going to be in the game and have a good chance to win it. So they did that, and they got going up to Seattle, which is always a tough game. You never, even though Seattle's struggling. I've told Craig all week, and I think it's gonna be a close game. I think it's gonna be a 3-point game, one way or another. And after that they got Cincinnati, but it's one game at a time. They got a favorable on the Cincinnati after next week. They're in the thick of it. The Rams are fading, so they're only one game back from the Rams. They could sneak into that 5th seed. And who knows what Arizona has left? I mean, Kyler Murray's come back from an injury. So the division's, I don't think they can get the division, but there's some room to be, made one way or another.
Imagine if you guys could have beat Colt McCoy.
If we could have beat Colt McCoy, if we won a Packer game, there's a bunch of games we could have potentially had.
You could win every game possible. You guys would be undefeated right now.
Yeah.
Right. And then
the Chiefs weren't going to lose a single game, right? I mean, at Arrowhead.
Also, I'm glad you reminded me of something because I did bring something up that John and I had a conversation with. I want to say before last week, before the game started, I think it was during Can Cahoon Guessed the Spread of week number 12. We were talking about it. We came across, I think it was with like the Saints or Carolina, one of the games. And we were at the time, what was it? The Niners and the Vikings were the playoff seeds. I think the 6 and 7, something like that. And I want to say John said something about like, oh, this is a big game because I like the Saints, like this is like for their playoff matchup. And we somehow got into, it wasn't an argument, but just like he pretty much was on the side that thought it was more likely that Carolina and New Orleans would be the 6-7 than the Niners and the Vikings would be. And I said, no, I'm on the opposite. I think it would be the Niners and the Vikings before New Orleans, Carolina. Right. So my question, John, are you more on my side with this one now, or you think still New Orleans, Carolina before the Niners and Minnesota?
Yeah, Carolina's looked really bad the last 2 weeks, and I did not expect McCaffrey to be kicked out with an injury, and then the Saints.
Saw that one coming. That guy can't stay healthy, man.
No, he can. That those 2 seasons in a row where they used him like 90% of the time. That killed him. At this point though, like how crazy is it that like both the Niners. I mean, both the Niners and Vikings, Saints, Panthers, all four of those teams could still miss as well, and somehow the Eagles and football team could get it. It's like the whole NFC is so insane right now. Like where we're at right now, and then 3 weeks from now, we'll see where we are. But it's like every week it's something different. Like remember when the freaking Bengals were the 1 seed, like, and then 2 weeks later they weren't even in the playoffs. It's just
It was like, and then
insane.
week 2 happened.
Yeah, shit was
Las Vegas.
bonkers. But
Yeah.
but yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to like cut you off, Jay. If you have more to talk about the Niners before we switch over to Ben and get an update on a couple of his squads over there.
No, just Debo's out for 1 to 2 weeks, it looks like, and same thing with Fred Warner. So they're gonna have to focus. I think you got to rely on. I mean, George Kittle needs to see more than 2 targets. Like, I'm sorry, he needs to see at least like 8 a game. I need to use him like Kelsey a little bit more, especially with Debo out. And the defense has to step up, and no more penalties. Like Josh Norman, great at stripping the football, knocking the football out, but you got pass interference penalties still. So hopefully they clean that up, and we're on to Seattle.
All right, good stuff there.
Mhm.
All right, Benny, let's transition to you, and it's another one of those of pick your battle here of which one you'd like to start with. You can start with, well, actually, they're both not really good right now. You can start with the Rams after that disappointing loss in Green Bay to drop a 3rd straight, or you could go to talk about the team that still hasn't won a game yet after the Lions let one slip away to the Bears over on Thanksgiving Day.
Well, that's a lot of fun and options there.
Oh yeah.
I guess I'm gonna go with Old Faithful. I'm gonna go with the Lions. They looked really decent for a few minutes.
I would say their 2 drives on offense that they actually put up points. They looked good. I mean, it could have been just the Bears not looking good, but the 2 offensive drives.
Yeah, but then
but it was the rest of the game.
They seem to have good drives, a drive or 2 per game where they look like a phenomenal football team, and you're like, holy shit, this could be a contender to win a game. Wow. And then they get the ball for a 3rd time and they actually kind of look a little stunned, like didn't expect a follow-up. So it's a little shitty in that aspect, but it was cool that Jared Goff got 2 touchdowns. Woohoo. But unfortunately, yeah, another tough lost by 2 points. So it's like, what the fuck, guys? Like, can you please figure something out? Like, if you're gonna be good, like or you're going to be terrible, just be terrible. That's fine. But don't give glimpses of hopes where you take a lead and then you just slowly dwindle it away. You can't even blame the turkey, eating too much and shit because you didn't eat until after the game, you bastards. So that sucked. It is what it is. They unfortunately are winless, and that 1 tie seems a lot more important than you think, just to give them fucking hope. But Jared Goff did not throw any interceptions, so that's at least good.
Yeah, baby.
Their next game, there is potential. They're playing the Vikings. There is potential for them to win.
I don't think so.
They don't have what was it? Or obviously, to John standards, Goff still hasn't won a game yet without McVay. But whatever.
He's not wrong.
But yeah, it's not also McVay. It's also having a hella good squad around you that can actually catch a football when you throw it to their chest. That's also kind of a critical component in the NFL. If you get a football to the numbers as a wide receiver that's paid a handful of millions of dollars, you should be able to catch that. Just saying.
I don't even know if the Lions are actually paying a single receiver $1 million. I think they literally have all like league, like Khalif Raymond's their number 1 receiver right now. Like, he's definitely not a millionaire.
Well, still. Well, go out and spend some goddamn money.
Funny.
What were we talking about earlier? Open up the checkbook. Let's do this. Let's go. You cheap bastard. So anyways, moving on from the cold Detroit area, we're going to go over to SoCal with the Rams. They lost to Green Bay. It was a wild game, 36-28, 3 TDs and 1 interception for Stafford. I mean, it was a hell of a game. It was just a chucking fest. Everyone, both quarterbacks got arms, Rodgers and Stafford. It was a game that it was exactly what you would expect. But unfortunately, the Rams were on the tail end of that one. And like Craig said, lost 3 straight. Just not looking very good. They're, kind of falling apart. So I'm curious if they'll get it figured out in time to, create more consistency and get into the playoff picture, but and hold on to a spot when it matters. But we'll wait and see what happens. But their next game is against the Jaguars, so obviously that should be a win. If not, blow up the team, start over.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So
Pack it in.
yeah, you're so we'll see what
Game over,
happens.
man.
They can't
Game
lose that
over.
game. And
They
to
can't.
mention- and not to mention, it's not like Jacksonville has looked very good either in the last
No.
games either. So
I mean, like them versus them versus the Lions is like
tasty.
an equivalent, so you really should be able to handle business. It's a game where you fine tune everything, you work on the details, you get your shit back together, and you get your team mentally right to get prepared for the final push for the season and then work into the playoffs. So that's all I got with those 2 teams. And then, Craig, with you and your 18 teams, let's see what you got.
It's like 19.
Nah,
if you're gonna get it right, you gotta get it right.
That's my bad.
Well, I don't think I need to really touch in too much with the Vikings and the Raiders. I think John kind of did a good enough job of covering that entire game, especially because I didn't get a chance to I actually have not even seen a single snap of that game. What else I can tell you is the Raiders. They're still in the thick of the playoffs. They do have a game against the Washington football team in Vegas this weekend. Washington has, they've actually looked pretty decent. They lost Chase Young a few weeks ago, and they've still been able to handle business. They had a big upset victory against the Buccaneers. And then obviously they had Seattle on Monday Night Football this past week, and the Seahawks have just not looked right. But Washington was able to hold on to the game and pull off the victory. So I don't think it's going to be an easy game. I think Washington's coming in feeling good. Washington's all of a sudden thinking things too. Like they have a chance to make the playoffs in the NFC. So I'm expecting a battle there. The Raiders, that's 2 teams that absolutely need to win this game. I know Jason said it a couple weeks ago when the Raiders played the Bengals. They came into that game and Jay said whoever loses that game is not making the playoffs. Well, the Raiders lost that game. So in Jay's eyes, that means Raiders are not going to make the playoffs. So I still don't think it's very likely. I just think there's other teams that are probably just more consistent than the Raiders are. But if the Raiders don't win this one, I think it's about ships probably kind of sailed on that one. So especially on the Raiders, they still have another game against the Chiefs coming up. They got to play the Chargers one more time, which the Chargers have let me down already enough this season to make me not believe in them anymore. But so we'll see how it goes. We'll have updates.
How was that, Jason?
That game.
Chargers are my sleeper team, and they're shit in the bed.
You blew it. They kind of blew it. So and then with the Vikings, Jay kind of covered it too. I mean, we were talking about it. We expected that game to be a shootout. That was probably our most confident game that we thought was going over the total, and it didn't let down. But exactly what Jay said, like with Garoppolo and Cousins, they have moments where they look like really good quarterbacks, but they also have bonehead moments where you just don't even know what they're doing. I mean, hell, Kirk Cousins didn't even know who his center was at one point during the game when he got behind his own right guard and wasn't going for a snap. So
You like that?
No, I can't say I like that. All too much.
I don't think that, what, to be honest, to be fair, I don't think the right guard liked it either.
No.
Wow.
I liked it either.
Whoa,
so,
what is going on right there?
tough. They had Dalvin Cook went down with an injury as well. That's not good. I've said it before how important Dalvin Cook is to this offense. Although I do think Alexander Madison has a chance to have a good game against Detroit this weekend. So I don't think it's going to hurt maybe necessarily too much. This is still a game against Detroit this weekend that they really should handle, especially if they're going to make a push. All I hear about all year is how the Vikings are a better team the record shows. Well, you know what? You are what your record shows. And at the same time, I think so. What the Vikings lost that game by 8 points, something like that against the Niners was final score. I think that's the largest defeat they've had this entire season. I think up until that game, their biggest loss was by 7 points. So they've been in every game. They keep everything close. So And I mentioned before too about how they just seem like they're that team that can always hang there, but they just don't have enough to put it over the thing. And I talked about how, Zimmer's on the hot seat and he might be on the way out. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I think they go in Detroit. I think they win.
No Dalvin Cook.
They have no Dalvin Cook. So, but one good thing is that NFC Offensive Player of the Month, Double J, Justin Jefferson's still out there, and hopefully Cousins can find him in the end zone a couple times as well. So I think they kind of need to make a little bit of a statement against the Lions. They squeaked one out when they played them at home. They had to have a walk-off field goal to beat them. I think they need to go in Detroit and at least win this game. They need to win this game by at least 10. I think if they're really gonna show that they need to be a threat. They need to be someone that people need to be worried about. So, and Minnesota, I know they still. I think they play Tampa Bay still too. So, actually, maybe not Tampa Bay. I don't know. I don't know, but they don't have any schedule list. I know they for sure play Green Bay one more time in Green Bay. So, we'll see. The tough thing about the NFC is there's just so many teams that are in the playoff hunt. They're just not that good. They're just not that good. So I don't know. We'll check in on that next week and see exactly how that Lion game played out. But as for the Buffalo Bills, they played on Thanksgiving as well. They went into New Orleans and they handled business. And I think that's one thing that's been super impressive about this Buffalo Bills team is that as much as they have, I would say up to this point, they have looked I don't want to use the word disappointing, but they haven't really met expectations. They came into the season as a Super Bowl favorite, and they've had moments for sure. That game in Kansas City, that was like a clear sign of, yep, this Bills team is for real. They just went into Kansas City, went into Arrowhead, and they whooped on the Chiefs that game. But they've lost games to Jacksonville. They got absolutely torched by Jonathan Taylor and the Colts. And this was a game they went into New Orleans, with Trevor Siemian as quarterback, no Alvin Kamara. And what I was trying to hint to was that their defense has been something that's been so key coming off a loss. They've only into that game, they've only been averaging, I think, like 8 or 9 points against after a loss. Well, they gave up 6. So they're maintaining that status quo of really bouncing back defensively. And I think that was what got me concerned after that Colts game was the fact that they had no answer for Jonathan Taylor. And that was a game where their defense didn't look good. Offensively, they didn't look good. It all looked like it was in trouble. So it was a good game. That was a game they needed to go in there and win. They handled business. But they're not even in the division leader right now. They have the New England Patriots coming in to Buffalo on Monday Night Football. And I mean, Mac Jones, he's looked damn good. The Patriots as a whole team have looked damn good. They have been the hottest team in the NFL over the last 4 or 5, maybe 6 weeks. So it's going to be a hell of a game. And if the Bills can win this game, they'll jump back into first place of the AFC East. So we'll see how it goes. I'm really looking forward to the game. I'm excited to know that with softball being done, I'll at least be able to watch that game. So I'm pumped up for that. Josh Allen, who is, I think he's the current leader of the entire NFL and Pro Bowl votes right now. So, but one thing that Allen's been doing, he's been throwing a lot more interceptions. I feel like he's been trying to do maybe a little too much. He's been forcing a little bit. So he's been getting picked off a number of times. That Patriots defense isn't a joke. That's a solid defensive team over there in New England. So I think Josh Allen's going to need to be crisp. I think he needs to be as accurate as he can with his throws. And he don't want to turn the ball over, especially if you're in the offensive zone. You got to capitalize, get points against this Patriots team because the Patriots are dangerous. Let's face it, the Patriots are kind of back, without a doubt.
They'll twist your ankle if they have to.
Yeah. I remember. That's funny you remembered that. So, but yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that game. It's an exciting game. I would not be surprised
at least he doesn't bite him.
But we'll see how it goes. I'm really hoping that the Bills can go out there and this is a true test, another true test for the Bills to kind of show that they really are that team that everyone thought they were going to be at the start of the season. So I'm excited to see how it goes. But for sure, I'm excited to talk about that game too next week. So,
hey guys, got breaking news. Breaking news.
What?
The Memphis Grizzlies beat the Oklahoma City Thunder by 73 points tonight.
I believe it.
73.
Oh, that's nasty.
I believe it.
As a coach on the plane home, what do you say to your team after you get them blown up by 73?
You're taking the bus. Bye.
They say I award you
Well,
no points and may God have mercy on your soul.
Considering the
Wow.
average age of the Oklahoma City Thunder, curfew is at 10 p.m.
I'm 40.
Damn.
Sorry, I was expecting you to go older, and I just took a shot on that one. So
No,
my fault.
that team is a very young
bad.
team.
That's my bad.
Yeah.
No,
That's crazy.
That's the Lakers where you would use I'm 40 because that's like the two completely. You have the Lakers who are the oldest team in the NBA, and then you got the Thunder who is the youngest.
All right. Well, really quickly, a little more football before we transition things on. And that is any games looking forward to this weekend as a whole. Anything you guys are going to be locked in to watching? Any action on?
Well, yeah, it's already brought up the Monday night game, which is I think easily the game
obvious
of the
one.
week.
Yeah.
For me, it's the coin flip game. You know, you got the Raiders at home. Are they going to be able to make it 2 wins in a row? I think they're going to win, but it should be a close, really good game.
I think for me, it's it may be another win or go home kind of deal. The Chargers and the Bengals. If you're gonna make the playoffs, you got to win that game. So it should be a good game.
Yeah, I think I'd second that with the Chargers Bengals game. The Chargers have, in a sense, been a disappointment if you're like Jay and you know they're the sleeper team. They haven't looked that good when they needed to be. So, and the Bengals, I'll firstly admit that I did not expect them to go out and beat up on Pittsburgh like that. I thought that would be a lot closer of a game. As much as I've trashed on the Steelers this year, I just kind of thought maybe we were going to look too into the Bengals, come out the big win against the Raiders, whatever. But yeah, that Bengals team, they can still make some noise. So I'm expecting the Bengals to go out there and put a stomp in. I think that Chargers defense isn't going to be able to hold Mixon back. I think the Bengals are going to have another good day. I don't think they're going to put up as many points necessarily they put up against the Steelers, but I think they will put a beat down on the Chargers to a certain degree. So looking forward to that one.
I'm gonna say the Chiefs game. See how they come back after a bye, and then just seeing if they kind of come back in force at all, just because this season's been very inconsistent for them. So I'm curious to see a week off. Is that maybe what they needed to kind of get back to their powerhouse team that they are? So I think that'll be the game I'll be keeping an eye on.
All right, yeah. Well, we got tons of exciting action. Week number 13.
God damn! I was gonna say, didn't they just manhandle the Cowboys before the bye? Like,
Yeah, the Chiefs. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
the Chiefs look like maybe
they look like the team that we thought they were.
And we've already talked about a little bit, about just how good Andy Reid is coming off the bye. Too. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, we'll be back to talk more about the recap of Week 13 as well, previewing Week 14's action on next week's episode as well. So all right, we're gonna keep things rolling on now, as it is time for the Cohooney 5 with the bowling recap in there as well. So Cohooney, go ahead and take it away, Senor.
Yeah. Bowling recap. Ooh. So I have 2 weeks worth to do, right? Okay, yeah. So
Ish.
really total roller coaster. Last week I went 220. I had a 220 game, and then legit forgot how to bowl, and ended up shooting probably my worst game all season. I had a 137, and then I go back and I'm like, oh wait, I know how to bowl again. I go to shoot 211. So it's just like total fucking roller coaster. And then I think our team split 2-2, and then this week it was a frustrating week. We kept having the lane breakdown. Like we couldn't even get through a whole cycle of bowlers on before without the lane breaking down.
Wow.
And on Mondays at that time, all the lanes are taken. So we pretty much just had to deal with it until another team finished. So then by the time another team finished theirs and we got to move pairs, we're halfway through the second game and just I couldn't get a good rhythm. I think this is the first time all season I didn't even bowl my average once. I ended up finishing with 170 something games. So
Damn.
it was a little frustrating. Just could not put the strikes together. Had a couple of easy spares I missed. It's just, not you're not always gonna have a good week. And unfortunately, the team we faced off against did really good, and they ended up taking 3.5 points. We ended up taking a half point the last game. So rough 2 weeks. Our chances of winning first are kind of. It's not mathematically over now, but it's gonna be really tough. We're gonna have to start putting some sweeps together to get back up to that spot, because going 2 weeks ago we were 1 point out, and I think now we're about, if my math's correct, I think we're like 6.5 out now. Just after 2 weeks of how bad we bowled, because we bowled two of the top two teams in back-to-back weeks. But speaking of something that wasn't bad, my Cohooney 5 from our last show, a 4-1 day. Unfortunately, Misha Tate did lose to Caitlin Vieira in the main event, but I did get the Yanez over Grant, the Santos over Wood, Yaya over Khan, and Brady over Chiesa. So 4-1. UFC's back this weekend. Another fight night before the pay-per-view next weekend. So my overall record for my Cohooney 5 right now is 84, 62, and 9. And to start off the main card for this week's fight night, I'm taking the favorite Brandon Allen over Chris Curtis. Chris Curtis is coming off a huge win where he got a finish, but it's a quick turnaround. It's only 3 weeks ago when he last fought, and he was getting beat in the first round before he pulled off just a insane uppercut to get the knockout. But Brandon Allen, he's on a 5-fight win streak. He's minus 350 favorite. I'm not saying that Allen's going to get a finish of Curtis, because Curtis has been around for a while, but I do think Allen that does get a unanimous decision win. He's not 40, but he's close. He has over 40 fights before he had his first ever career UFC fight. But yeah, I'm going to take Allen over Curtis, unanimous decision. Next up, we got Leonardo Santos over Clay Guida. Clay Guida, longtime vet, but just he's past his prime. Santos, odds are pretty good, but he is the favorite, but it's a close matchup. I'm going to go with the younger fighter Santos over the long-term vet in Guida. Next up, we got a kind of a who's going to take the next step in the division fight between Jimmy Crute and Jamal Hill. Neither of these guys are ranked yet, but you can argue whoever wins this fight could sneak into the top 15 of the division. I'm going to go with Crute. But should be a really fantastic fight for as long as it lasts, because I can see this one. I don't see this one making it into the third. So give me Crute over Hill. And then this is my one underdog for the week. I got Brad Rydell over Rafael Fiziev. Rydell is undefeated in the UFC, 5-0, while Fiziev is on a 4-fight win streak. This is not a pick 'em. I think Fiziev's a little bit of a favorite, but I'm going to go with the underdog Rydell over Fiziev in what should be just a fantastic fight for as long as it goes. I believe it's going to hit. I believe it will go all three, and then I can see Rydell getting a split decision or unanimous. And then the main event is Rob Font over Jose Aldo. Jose Aldo is making a career resurgence after, losing his belt to Conor McGregor a couple years back. He's making a resurgence in his career, but Rob Font, he's on a tear right now in the division, and I think he keeps it going. I think he beats the longtime. Jose Aldo is going to be in the Hall of Fame, so I think Font beats the Hall of Famer here. So to recap my Cohooney 5, I got Brandon Allen, Leonardo Santos, Jimmy Crute, Brad Rydell, and Rob Font.
All right. Lock those babies in. Possibly another winning week coming your way from the Cohooney 5 this week. Thank you as always for that information. All right, we're gonna transition things over to essentially the last softball recap we're gonna have for probably quite a bit here. I believe if I'm thinking correctly, I think the only thing left to update on is just how the Monday season played out, as everything had wrapped up right up into our last show. So we had 2 weeks left of Mondays with one regular season, and then the playoffs. I guess a little bit touching into our last regular season game, went up against Life West, and game wasn't good early. We got down. If I remember correctly, I think we were maybe down 10-0 in the second inning, and just a game that they're hitting the ball over the place, and we were chasing everything. And that's one thing about this team is they're just so damn fast. It's just like if it gets past somebody, I mean, you're looking at least triple, at the very least. So I kind of thought that game was going to get ugly, but a lot of kudos to our team. We really battled back in that game. We did fight back. We kind of climbed ourselves back into it. I do think the final of that game ended up being like 15-10, if I'm not mistaken. So we ended up losing by 5 in that game. So we ended up dropping 3 straight going into the playoffs. We ended up going in as the 4 seed. So not the ideal situation after being 3-0 at one point and being the 1 seed and then dropping 3 straight. Not to mention knowing that the 3 teams we all lost to were all in the playoffs above us. So not the ideal situation, but we went into playoffs this past Monday, went up against the Rejects, the number 1 seed who had not lost a game. And we put it to them. And we scored early, we scored often. And as Jason will tell you, I think they're looking past us a little bit. And I think based on a comment that they even said to Jay when he was on base, I think they definitely were. But I was really happy with the way we came out. We hit the ball. We played well defensively. We were able to get out of some tough jams where they could have busted it open. We went into, I believe, the 7th. I don't know if the 7th inning. It was definitely, I think it might have been the 6th. It was definitely the last inning it was going to play, though, based on the time clock. I want to say we were up 14-2. I want to say they put up about 7 runs, so it kind of got a little hairy, but we got ending 14-9. So we got to pull off the upset. We gave them their only loss of that season. We got ourselves into the championship game against who other but Life West, who didn't realize, but they had beat Dark Horse Lounge 13-0 in the first game. So they're coming in feeling really darn good about themselves. And it transitioned from game 1 to game 2. They were smashing the hell out of the ball. And we kind of really couldn't contain it. They're fast as hell. They run all over the place. And they made some plays defensively too. That's another thing, is that I think that maybe be the one weakness of their team, is that defensively they're not always the best. But they made some good plays. And when we kind of had a couple of chances to kind of get some innings going, we kind of couldn't get anything. We couldn't really produce anything. And I think the final ended up being 18-3. They run-rolled us in the 4th inning.
Yeah.
One really cool highlight we did have of that game, though, was when the game was already out of hand. Their leadoff hitter on their team, who is by far the fastest of that entire team, although don't get me wrong, they're all incredibly fast. He launches the ball to left center with a runner on base. And I think Haley tried to make a diving play or a sliding play that got past her. I was in left. I got to the ball and I threw the ball to Jay, and he's already caught up to the girl in front of him on base. And so they're basically rounding third base at almost the exact same time. So Jay gets the ball, turns, throws a bullet just right to home, right to lead home. Catches the ball. The both runners are basically at the commit line. They're already in. So it ended up being essentially a double play at home play, because once you pass commit line, you can't go back. So they're both already committed to going home. Lee has the ball on home plate. They both cross. It's a double play. So that was probably the highlight of that game for sure. Unfortunately, like I said, the game was kind of already decided at that point. But overall, I was happy with the way that we came out and we fought. Like I said, we went into the playoffs dropping 3 straight. And for us to go into that first game in the playoffs against the Rejects, who were undefeated, and they were handling business in that league. And like I said, they were looking past us, and we really stuck it to them. And I don't think they expected us to come out and give them, it's one of those, the classic line of, you have a plan and to get punched in the mouth. Well, they got punched in the mouth, and they had trouble responding. So I was happy with the way that we fought. We got to the championship game, knowing that we won the league last in the summer, and we take second place this season. I'm really excited to see how we look coming into spring. there. So I guess Jay, if there's anything you want to add on from the last couple of weeks of Mondays before I guess we kind of say goodbye to softball talk for a little bit.
Yeah, I think you covered most of it.
Yeah.
I'll be the one that say I'm not the biggest fan of Life West in general. I just don't like their team.
No one's really that big a fan, but
I'm not. They run up the score a lot. They keep on running, and when you're up, I have this like unwritten rule where if you're up like 10, you just need to start going station to station, especially when you're hitting the way you are, and one guy just keeps on running and running and running, and I'm not a fan of that. It's not the way I play the game. It's not the way we play the game. It's out there for rec softball, and don't get me wrong, we had a great season in the summertime. We had a great season in the winter. But now it's, like you said, time to focus. And, this old guy needs to rest his body for a little bit before we go back out there in March. So that being said, I still want to kind of work out a little bit and, be just real slow when we start in March or April, whenever it is. So it's a fun time, playing multiple nights a week. And Craig, you could test, you played 4 nights, and it'll take a toll on you. And,
yep, my body's gonna probably be thanking me over the next couple of weeks for that.
So,
but
no, looking forward to it and looking forward to the next season.
All right, yeah. So like I said, that's kind of the last of really softball talk we have for a little bit. The next season for spring doesn't start up until March, so there might be some tournament action we can talk about in the upcoming couple of months, but other than that, that's kind of really it. So it's been fun, but I guess try to enjoy the off season with the holidays, and eventually, the bit will be back, and hopefully we can start talking about our next playoff and championship run in 2022. So, all right. So we'll keep things, we got to transition over, and it's going to transition to Jay because I think Jay might be a little upset over a couple of things. Yeah, that's right. Not only is Get Off My Lawn back, but it's back with authority. Now let me make sure I cue up the correct sounder here for you. That way we can start this off properly. So I haven't clicked it in so long. It may just be gone, Jay. I don't know. Just stay tuned for that one.
It's old like myself. So I understand.
Yeah. Actually, wait a minute. Get off my lawn! See, I knew I'd come through with it. So like I said, Jay.
That's what she said. There you go.
Oh my God. Like I said, Jay, something's bothering you. A couple things to be specific. So don't let me stop you. Take it away, sir.
No, we are not done with softball yet. Here's the problem. The problem is Craig and I participated in a tournament over the Turkey Day, Thanksgiving Turkey Trot 1-pitch tournament. Don't get me wrong. It was a lot of fun. But having to decide who wins a game based on a coin flip is a joke. You should not decide a tournament game based on a coin flip. You should be able to play an extra inning. You should be able to Rochambeau. You should be able to do a 1-pitch to a batter.
It looks like season's finished.
And it always freezes.
Yeah, it always freezes.
It's bad.
You're good to go now, though.
All right. Oh, but you should be able to do something other than a coin flip to decide an outcome of a game, especially if it's a game where it could dictate you're going to go to the championship game and you're not. Luckily, that didn't happen to us, and it wasn't involved. But still, we played that team really tough, or back and forth. It was a good game. It should be decided otherwise. I wrote the league or the tournament commissioner, and he was open to ideas on how to help ties in the future. So, which is good. I'm glad that he was like, no, this is the way it's going to be, because that could turn a lot of people off and could be part of the reason why they only get 6 teams out for a tournament, which I find it to be a lot of fun.
I mean, I even threw out that idea. I mean, I don't think it's a great idea, but against a coin flip, I mean, at the very least, have each team pick one player to go up and swing the bat one time.
Yep.
Whoever hits the ball the furthest is the winner. Right. I mean, at least have some type of skill involved to it other than a coin flip. I think it's just silly, but like you said, Jay, I'm just happy that it wasn't like a deciding game whether or not we make it to the championship game or not, because that would be really shitty if that's what, or even for their team, if that was their case, if they're the ones looking at it and we win the coin flip and they lose out, like that's not really, it's not really right. But I'm happy that at least they might at least talk about these ideas. But we also know when it comes to softball leagues in the Bay Area when they talk about how they're going to talk about things about fixing stuff and nothing really happens. So
You know how that goes.
hold your breath. Wouldn't really do that, but
Yeah, then, so yeah, we may have a possible other tournament coming up in February, something different. But yeah, just to, like, I like that suggestion. I think we threw it out there. Longest ball, fair ball, wins the tournament. Just thought it was bad. And even if we did win the coin flip, like you said, I wouldn't have counted that as a win. Like, just like I'm not counting it as a loss. So, the second issue I have is with Major League Baseball. They just can't seem to get out of their own damn way. They're striking now. I have a question for you guys. What sports are most kids gearing up to play in your minds, do you think, right now?
NBA.
gearing up to play.
Yeah,
Baseball.
what sports are kids mostly playing these days, you think?
Probably
NBA.
Football.
I don't even know about. I mean, a lot of people are playing football, but there is still the parents out there who don't even let their kids play it. I think probably the most played sport for kids is probably basketball.
Okay, so right, Cohooney hit it. NBA or basketball. There's football, and there's also flag football where kids are playing now too. There's a lot of flag football leagues where it's not as
Yeah.
you're not
No
gonna get
no hitting until high
no
school.
hitting and right. And also they've mentioned soccer and lacrosse. Baseball is and I would say it's a dying sport. The kids are not signing up to play that. And a perfect example of that is you're going out on strike. Part of the problem that they're going on strike on is you have to wait 6 years to become a free agent to make any real money, basically, in baseball. Unless you're a stud, like Mike Trout's,
Unless you're like one of the biggest,
whatever.
unless you're one of the biggest prospects of all time.
Unless you're
like
one of the
Wander
biggest
Franco.
prospects in baseball, like Wander Franco, you're not getting any money until like year 6 or 7. What happens if you go play football, like Kyler Murray chose to?
Mhm.
He's about to get paid a shit ton of money in what, year 3, year 4?
I mean, he got I
He
mean,
got
shit.
paid right away, right?
Yeah,
So-
he got the money he made on his first contract is probably more than he'd make in playing baseball.
So baseball can get out of their own way. You got basketball players; it's all guaranteed money as well. So if you have any talent in basketball, you're doing that. You're not playing baseball anymore. You got the strike going on with the owners. They're arguing over billions of dollars in the middle of a pandemic. Like, read the room. You guys can't figure it out, really,
You're a loser.
They never can. Just like
and when
hockey,
we
never figured
started-
out either.
guys. Where does A's owner John Fisher rank as far as valuable owners in Major League Baseball?
He's
I
up
looked
there.
this up today.
He's
I
up
looked
there.
today.
He's probably top. I'm gonna say top 5, right?
Actually, he's not. He's a 9.
No.
He's 9. But spending like 31st or 32nd owner in baseball, maybe 30. He's spending cheap. And let's be
course.
honest, they're on their way out to Vegas. Let's call it for what it is. That's a whole other segment. Just MLB can't get out of their own damn way to promote the game to get more players to play it. And they are losing kids to, like we said, basketball, football, because the money's.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray, do you want to play football for a starting quarterback for a pro franchise, or do you want to go ride a bus for 3 or 4 years until you make it to the big league? Which would you guys choose?
No!
Well, then there was that thing that there was actually a post that somebody did on Twitter. I read it last night. It was you literally play baseball for 6 years and live off of ramen noodles,
I saw that.
and
Yeah.
then bam, they just give you $100 million.
Right.
And it's
Wow.
true. That's the crazy thing. I think hockey is pretty good with the entry level contract. You still get a
Sure.
decent amount, but it's only 3 years, 2 to 3 years for an entry level contract, and then you graduate to the real contract. And I think that's the ideal thing for baseball would be reduce it down to 2 to 3 years. Like, why do you need 6 years? That's insane. That's a long.
And then
time.
there's the loopholes that the teams do, where like if they keep a player, if instead of bringing them up at the beginning of the season, if they keep them down for like the first 30 games of the season, they get their control one more extra year.
Yep. NHL, I believe,
know
is
they did that to
the
they did
same.
that to Chris. We did that to Chris Bryant, and like that was.
Yeah,
that
and
pissed a whole
of
bunch
course,
of
there's
people
always
off.
going to be loopholes, and that's fine if you're going to do loopholes for a year. But when it's 6 years, and it's
No,
extended
I
to
just mean,
7
like,
years. Like that's
exactly.
that's a lot. Like
That's what happened to Chris Bryant. Like this was his 6th year, but then because of the loophole, they were able to get an extra year, and then it became 7 years before he actually got really paid.
And I think also baseball is the only sport. Baseball is the sport where you're getting paid, I think, for what you did and not what you're gonna do. Because by the time you reach free agency, you're at what, 29, 30, 31 years old maybe, and they're gonna sign you to a 5-6 year deal. Well, guess what? You're gonna decline around 34, 35, and they're gonna be bitching, no, well, we paid this guy a whole shit ton of money. No shit, because he was in the minor leagues for 6 years.
Mhm.
Like, come on, it's the system is broken.
Yep.
Rob Manfred's a joke.
It's
John Fisher's a joke. Like, if you're not in it as an owner to win, get the fuck out. Kind of simple.
Daddy, chill.
That's it. That's all I got.
All right,
Those are,
good stuff. Good stuff. Way to
good.
get it out, Jay. You got to be able to vent that shit out on here. That's what we're about. We're about this. That's what we're about. This show. Come out, you vent your shit. So, I mean, I guess kind of all the way, maybe. I don't know.
Oh,
All right,
just don't start throwing your shit.
just start throwing your shit. We don't need that around. So all right. Moving things over before we get close to wrapping the show up for the evening. It is one of our usual segments, and it is the Hit It or Quit It segment. It's where we all pretty much bring a question to the table, at least one, usually each. Bring it on the table. We go around saying for each of us if we're hitting it or if we're quitting it. So, fellas, who would like to start things off this week?
I'll go. I'll follow it up. Come April 1, is Major League Baseball still on strike? Hit it or quit it?
I'll hit it.
The fact that you guys are all thinking about it, that makes me like, I don't know.
I'll hit it. I think this is going to go into April, and I think this will get the spring training is going to get canceled completely, and I could see the season starting late April, early May, something like that. I definitely believe the season will not be starting on time. So yeah, I'll hit it. It goes to the April Fool's Day plus.
I haven't been following this closely enough to probably give like an in-depth answer, but I think just for the sake of the bit, I'll go on the opposite side. I'll say quit it. I think April 1st, it might be figured out before then, but I think there's a potential that it could go close to that. And because of that, they may not be able to just start things up right when they, get this thing figured out. So I think they'll have to call it and it gets closer to that date of like, okay, you know what? We already know we're not going to start the season on time. So we got to push this thing back. So with that being said, I think I'll quit it. I think they will have it figured out, but will they be playing baseball on April 1st? I think that's a completely different story. So like I said, I will quit it.
I will quit it. I think that they're not gonna. I think they'll have it figured out before then. I think it'll be a band-aid. I don't think it'll actually be sorted out. I think they'll figure something out to get it going at least, but then dive into the more in-depth problems at a later time. But I think that they will do what they can by April 1st.
I don't think they can do that though. I think they have to come to an agreement, and it's a multi years for this new CBA. I don't think they can just sign something and get it going and then go back.
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. Money talks, man. Because again, these guys are billionaires.
Money rules the world. I'm gonna hit it. I'm gonna say they will still be on strike coming before. Just too many egos, too many people, too many chiefs in the kitchen, too much money to divide. First strike since '95. There's too many things that they need to agree on. Rule changes for that matter, DH and everything else going along with that. Playoff format. The minor league contracts talked about as well, like their setup, is that part of it? I'm not sure. Like, are they supposed to,
I'm not sure either.
House them and, take care of their minor league players, or again, living on ramen. I don't know. Yeah, so I'm gonna hit it.
All right, I'll go up next with this one. So a little NFL question here. I kind of mentioned it during the NFL segment. Talk about the New England Patriots a little bit. Talking about how I think it'd be hard to argue whether or not this is the hottest team in the NFL over the last 4 to 6 weeks. But are they the team to beat? Is the real question. So hit it or quit it, fellas. The New England Patriots are the top dog in the NFL right now.
In the NFL? Or
Dude, you
AFC?
should have just stuck to AFC. Definitely not. They're not even the top 5.
Okay,
NFL, so
fine.
I'm
They're not
gonna
even
quit
the
it.
top. They're not even the top 5. You think there's 5 teams in the NFC that are all better than the Patriots?
Well, I'm either way. I was gonna quit it. But yeah, I would still take Arizona with Kyler, the Rams, the Packers, the Cowboys, and the Chiefs all over them, and the Ravens all over.
All
the
3 of our
Patriots right now.
faces when you said Rams were like,
The Rams lost to the Packers in Green Bay. So what? That's a good loss. That's not a bad loss. Like, who cares? It's not like it's not like they got blown out too. So
Okay, I'm gonna quit it, and I would probably, as the nature boy Ric Flair says, to be the man, you got to beat the man. Casey's still the man, so I would say Casey is a better team. Having said that, Bill Belichick might be doing his best coaching job in a very long time, so I'm still gonna quit it though.
Yeah, I'm going to quit it as well. I just think that there are some really consistent teams out there as well. I'm not saying that necessarily knocking on the Patriots. It's just that there are some other good teams right now. And so I wouldn't say necessarily they're the hottest team or the best right now in the NFL, nor in their division. I think that in like per se by division or whatever, or conference, whatever you want to go with, I think that there's arguably a lot of other teams that can kind of be in that picture as well, and really it just kind of depends on just what team shows up. But yeah, no, I mean, I would say quit it just because there are some close contenders to that as well.
yeah, I think I'll quit it as well. I think New England does deserve a lot more credit than being like the 6th best team though, just because I feel like every top team has had like a real dud of a game, except for probably New England. I mean, New England lost the last couple games I remember. I mean, you look at the first 2 games, yeah, before they kind of started getting everything together, they didn't look great, but they lost the walk-off game to Dallas in overtime, and they lost Tampa Bay in a close game that everyone thought Tampa Bay was going to probably wallop all over them. So like I said, I think they're the hottest team based on that fact that I can't really look back at a game in New England and be like, yeah, well, that was that game that really showed a lot of their flaws, because I feel like every other team has a flaw, and we've seen it when they've lost games that they probably had no business losing against, except for maybe Green Bay maybe hasn't had a game. I mean, although the fact that they handled the Rams and they won games and they lost to Minnesota, like,
that's a division game
get
on the
it.
road. You're not gonna always.
you still lost. All right. So, but I'm
And the
not,
Bills lost to the Jaguars.
but I'm
so
still
it's
not
different.
saying I'm hitting it. I still quit it. I don't think they're the top dog quite yet. I would say even like if the one team I think if they want to have it head to head against, I think they would still lose it probably against Tampa Bay. I think they'll give them a game, but I still don't think they would have enough to overcome the Buccaneers. So yeah, I'll quit it as well.
All right, so I'm going to stick with the NFL as well. You guys brought up the MVP earlier in that podcast, and if you look around, you know, Aaron Rodgers questionably is maybe the leading candidate right now for MVP, but he's also, you know, dealt with the whole COVID things, and maybe that's a reason why some voters won't vote for him, because he pissed off the people who vote on it. Really, if you think about it, Kyler, he's been hurt. Stafford's been declining, same as Dak. their numbers have been declining lately. Patrick Mahomes, at the beginning of that season, can't see it, right? So, hit it or quit it. Jonathan Taylor is going to win the NFL MVP.
Who?
Jonathan
here-
Taylor
Yeah,
Thomas,
well-
who's on
well,
home field.
Yeah, I was gonna say like home improvement.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Question, because I don't know the answer to this. Has Derrick Henry won an MVP?
No.
No,
Okay.
he finished. I believe he finished in second once. But I mean, there was
Yeah.
a clear quarterback. That's the only reason I'm doing it this year is because is there a clear front runner quarterback that's going to win it? Because there's really none. And right now, the best player in the whole NFL for the last five plus weeks is Jonathan Taylor, and he keeps this up, which he's about to put up some insane numbers this weekend. He keeps it up. He's going to have the best numbers going into the end of the season. So
I think I'm gonna quit it just based on the fact that I think it's a very good chance. Like I see what you're saying. I think there really isn't a clear-cut guy that's like the front runner based on what you said with Aaron Rodgers. Kyler Murray was the guy that was talked about, but he's been out for 3 or 4 weeks now with his injuries. So I think he's kind of gonna lose out because of that. But I just think there's just a better chance that we're gonna see a quarterback really put it together in the final stretch of the last 6 weeks of the season. And it's probably going to be by a guy that's probably in the conversation, and he's probably going to pull away. And I think unfortunately for Jonathan Taylor is that the quarterback kind of goes over the running back when it comes to something like this. So based on that, I just think, like I said, I think a quarterback's going to probably pull away with it in the next 5-6 weeks of the season. So I'll quit it. I don't think Taylor's going to take the MVP this year, even though he might quite well deserve it. So
Yeah, I would say the same. Like I as much as I don't want to say it, I mean, I could see maybe someone like Dak Prescott winning it even before Thomas.
they don't give MVP awards
Taylor.
to people that lose to the Raiders.
Oh wow, what a shitty pass.
Okay, well, never mind. And after a shitty pass like that, yeah, he's disqualified. Sorry. Let me just.
Yep.
But no, I think that
That was awful.
I think there's going to be another quarterback, like Craig said. I think there's going to be a quarterback that's just going to step up, and his game is going to just escalate really quick to make a late decision push. And I think that Rodgers is out because of the political stuff behind it. That's just not going to make a lot of people happy. So he's just kind of automatically blacklisted on that one. But yeah, I think there's a lot of other quarterbacks that has a good chance. So before the running back would get it.
Wow, that should have been roughing the passer by the rule.
What?
Anyways,
Can't make contact with the quarterback's helmet.
yeah.
All right, for those of us that are still here, Jason.
I'm gonna quit it because there's a quarterback you guys haven't mentioned yet, and he's on a winning team. You guys might have heard of him. His name's Tom Brady. He's having a pretty damn good year.
I just want to make sure you had someone to bring up. That's all.
I appreciate that.
Yeah!
I think, I mean, the last non-quarterback MVP, I think we talked about on the radio today. It's been a long time. It's just, at this point, rename the award best quarterback, not MVP.
Yeah, right.
It's just call it for what it is. It sucks, but like at the same time, they're the most important person on the field. So, but I'll quit it. I mean, not to say Jonathan Thomas hasn't had a hell of a year, or Jonathan Taylor has had a hell of a year. He has. But I think it's gonna be more.
Yeah. I'm going to quit it as well. Right now, the leading candidate is Tom Brady to win MVP, followed by Josh Allen, and I think Aaron Rodgers is third. It's either Kyler or Aaron is third. But if you have $5 or $10 to go bet, you can get Jonathan Taylor right now at 1,400 and plus 1,400. And I think by the end of that year, it's not going to be that big of a. I think his odds will get closer and closer by the end of the year. But I am going to quit it. I do think that it could be a quarterback like, Brady, or if Kyler comes back and they continue kicking butt. So, all right, Ben, what's yours?
I don't actually have one today.
Failure.
Come on.
Anybody have another one?
I don't have one. That was the only one. I've had that one like all week too. So just
No, I
really
don't have- I
excited to
don't
bring
have
that one out.
No.
All right. That does it. Wraps it up. Hit it or quit it. Done for the week. Good to go. All right. We're about to wrap things up on another episode here of Sports Bets, but mostly chaos. And before we say goodnight, we like to do what we always do at the end of the show, which is we do our shout outs, whether it's people we know, birthdays, anniversaries, all that good stuff. Any of that, or businesses, it can be any of that stuff. There's really no rules when it comes to our shout outs. So fellas, before we move on for the evening, what do you guys got?
I think all three of us need to shout out our boy.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's go ahead and take it, John.
This our boy who's over here. Yeah, he's moving on. He's gonna be a daddy.
I'm a man.
He's a man.
He's a man.
Not quite.
He's he
Not
got drunk and he's finally making a baby.
What the hell?
Okay, you went about this in a whole weird way. You could
I know.
have just said, okay, we'll just say it. Ben, congratulations from all of us. We're really happy for you guys. Yeah, Ben is expecting his first child in June of 2022. He finally got one past the goalie.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Finally.
congratulations to you, Ben.
Thank you.
Really, really happy for you on that note. So yeah, but it's true. Yeah, I think all three of us had that in mind that we were going to shout that out on this show, especially knowing that, yeah, it's going to be, the last time we're going to get you on here
We're
for
gonna miss you.
a little while. So we'll see.
Yep.
Hopefully. We'll get you
We'll
back
see.
on at some point.
Congratulations to Katie as well, because not only does she
Oh,
Yeah, I was saying more often that the more the congratulations to her anyways. I mean, she's the one that's going to be
She's dealing with all the problems.
I
He's
mean,
dealing with
if
a
you
lot of
ask
it, so.
if you ask her
and she has
customers,
to deal
it's
with
gonna
you
be
as
Ben
well.
that's gonna be
Dude, that's
pregnant.
tough.
So.
Yeah.
I'm just playing video games. It's all good.
Oh yeah.
Get it all in there. baby.
Yeah, I gotta enjoy it now while I can.
Oh
Start
boy.
to get used to not being able to play anymore.
Oh my god.
I'm
Okay.
waiting for the
And-
first Ben pick where the baby's on his shoulder and he still has the controller in his hand. Like, I'm good.
Oh, yeah.
I can do
Yeah,
it.
right.
That's gonna be in the hospital. Are you kidding me? I'm just gonna bring it and hook it up. I'm sure their internet's pretty good there.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
That's where a moment I wish I had a skip drop. He goes, I'm gonna break my controller.
You can probably get that online.
I really need to do that one of these days.
And I broke my controller.
Yeah, I need to go find those videos and just get skip drops on here. It'd be hilarious because no one even know really who he is. for the
Oh
most
no,
part,
that's
so-
a good exposure though.
so,
But yeah, no.
all right.
Yeah, and then I'm just gonna I'm just gonna shout out all the people who were working on Thanksgiving, specifically at nighttime. Didn't get to spend their Thanksgivings with the family. They're out there working, whether it was a restaurant, movie theater, just in general. So I'm just gonna shout them out. I went and saw a movie on Thanksgiving night, and if it wasn't for the people working there, spending their Thanksgiving there working, I wouldn't have been able to. So just gonna shout out all the workers who did work Thanksgiving.
Yeah, absolutely. Jay, anything else you got?
No, I was a shout out Ben and Katie. And
Oh.
you guys did that, so,
Yeah.
good to
Guess
go.
only other shout I have, we do have a birthday coming up in a couple days on the 5th. It is Joanna. Gina's Joanna's birthday.
Joanna.
Yeah, our good friend Gina, friend of the program. Probably never watched a single
Probably not.
episode or any
Probably
second
should.
of anything.
Probably should.
May not even know that this even exists, to be quite honest with you. But we're good people. We're still gonna shout her out on these airwaves. She might not ever know we did it, but we still want to do it. We're still gonna make sure to do it. So happy early birthday, Gina. Hopefully Eric spoils the hell of you, as Jason always say, because that's his line to everything. Hopefully they spoil you. So funny. All right, Ben.
Oh, that was the easiest intersection
Yes.
of his life.
Anything else you want to shout out?
Yeah, just shout out. My sister, she hosted Thanksgiving this year for the family to have it at her place. So turkey turned out amazing. The food was delicious. It was a good time seeing my mom. Glad that we all got to spend time together for the holidays. And then also shout out to the mother-in-law because we then went to part 2 over there in San Jose. Got to eat a shit ton of food again. Had some laughs, good time. And then they went her and Katie went Black Friday shopping. So, thank you to those workers as well, just having to deal with all the craziness. But I think it was actually a lot more tame when me and her brother went out. It was hella tame compared to what it used to be. Everything's all
That's what she
online and
said.
hella early sales. So just trying to cut down on it. So, but yeah, no, those are my shout outs. And yeah, no, so it was a good time.
That's a great way to stay in shape.
Great way to stay in shape.
Shout out to Keith and Kelly. That jungle juice was amazing.
Oh yeah, shout out to
Oh,
Kelly
yeah.
who had us over for our Friendsgiving over there. Had the jungle juice going, so we are having a great time.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I believe it.
Jungle
When the
juice
jungle
is-
juice is out. Whew.
Yeah, we still had some on Monday too for.
Oh, yeah, I
for
believe it.
softball. We had to bring that whole thing out. We had some more, so
Oh,
Probably
shit.
loaded with steroids. That's why we did so good the first game.
that's
There
what
we
we
go.
got. We got juiced up before our first game. so.
Literally.
Trouble.
All right, fellas. Anything else? You want to add anything we might have forgot? Anything like that? Good to go.
Good to go.
All right. Well, then I guess with that being said, that does it here for another episode over here of Sports Bets, but mostly chaos. If you're not already doing it, what are you doing, man? Give us a follow over at YouTube. Subscribe to our channel, Sports Bets, but mostly Chaos Podcast. Just hit over to YouTube. I know you got it on your phone. I know you peruse through it, from time to time. So why not subscribe? Get updates of the latest videos as they come out. Also, social media. I know you got those too. Get us on Twitter, on Instagram. Same handle at SBBMC_POD. Give us a follow, like, comment, all that stuff, whether it's on the channel, on the socials. We'll take any of it. We appreciate all of it. So yeah, make sure to do that if you're not doing it. For those coming and listening, whether it's your first time or you're a returning viewer, we appreciate it so much. And yeah, that does it here. So everyone, and then one more thing, yeah, Ben, we'll miss you on the show. Clearly, the chaos part's going to be a little bit down, I think. But I think we're all going to have to, the three of us, going to work together to really bring it up and make sure that we try to keep that going until we at least get you on here again. Hopefully down the road at some point. So hopefully we won't disappoint you in the chaos factor.
Yep,
I know we'll disappoint you in the bets portion, but the chaos maybe.
Yeah, we're not even gonna get into the bets portion. I'm just gonna be looking at the chaos portion. That's it.
Smart man. All right, everybody. Thank y'all so much as always for tuning in. Like I said, we appreciate you so much, and we'll be back next week for more. All right, everybody. Have a great night. We'll see y'all soon.
Good night.